quorum? We need two short. So we'll deal with non-voting topics. In the meantime, here comes another recruit. Thank you for being here.
The bridge to very back.
Of course it was.
There's a police checkpoint at the
Oh, okay.
entrance into town.
Yeah, safety check.
Yeah.
So they're what they were, I couldn't figure out what they were looking at.
That's why I came down with now.
Escape prisoners.
Yeah, I think the seatbelt, your registration, I mean, it was,
Oh, they'll get you.
yeah, there was like,
Your insurance card.
yeah,
We believe Mike Molinsky is on his way, and that will give us our quorum when he arrives. This is the first meeting we've had since our annual meeting, and the feedback has been fairly positive. Things went well, and I want to thank the board members who participated, and compliment the staff on the presentations, on handling all the preparations, and making everyone feel welcome. A reminder to board members that you are expected to attend the annual meeting, and barring some unforeseen circumstance. And you can mark your calendar right now for 2025 annual meeting. It's the last Tuesday in April. I don't have that date, but it's the last Tuesday in April, traditionally. And we'll look forward to another successful annual meeting. It occurred to me that when we presented that caricature to David Finger, our outgoing chairman, that a lot of you didn't get a chance to see it because we're so focused on keeping it secret from Dave and making you surprised. We didn't share it with you. So this is the artwork. I'm going to pass it around. If you just pass that around the room.
What was the date? April last.
Last
April
Tuesday,
29th.
April 29th, April 29th, 2025. We want to welcome two new board members to the CEDC board. The first is Christian Lopez. Christian, good morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Christian and his family operate a restaurant called Coyote Flaco. Anybody? Anybody's been there? We love it. What's the special at Coyote Flaco today, Christian?
I don't know. I don't have idea yet. Starting the week. All right.
We're glad to have you. Welcome. And Chris Nardone, who's the Green Workforce Development Board, is here as well. Chris, could you tell us, remind us of the distinction between the Workforce Development Board and the college?
So the Workforce Development Board is the entity that oversees the federal funding that comes into the public workforce development system. The college is the provider of the services of the board. So there's an agreement between the board and the college. So the college provides the services to the community and is the fiscal agent of the grants. And the board oversees the funding and the grant administration. And then the college does the kind of the boots on the ground work for the board.
Okay. For the benefit of Christian and Chris, why don't we go once around the room? Tell us your name, your town, and your business or organization. Carly Drummer, if we do.
sure. Hi, I'm Carly Drummer. Welcome. I'm the president of Columbia Green Community College in Hudson and live in Malden Bridge.
Thank you.
Mike Johnston, president of Johnston Transportation, Belmont.
I'm Rachel Levine. I live in Germantown. 30 years advertising and branding professional, and currently have my real estate license with Hinton Realty in Germantown.
Tara Gay, Public Sale Auction House in Hudson, New York, right down the street from here, and I live in Claw.
Hello, I'm Rachel Puckett. I'm from Mid-Hudson Cable, where I am the Director of Community and People Relations, and I live in Catskill.
Jim Calvin Valatia, Calvin Communications.
Rick Cummings, Malden Gas, Hudson. Ken Leggett, local contractor, Livingston.
Carmine Roach is chairman of the IDA, Columbia County IDA. I'm only the chief financial officer for CNH. I live in Skirmish.
Mike Tucker, president and CEO. Andy Howard, CEDC corporate counsel.
And you know me, Mike Linsky, knows photography. Riley Warner, Administrative Assistant here at CEDC.
I'm Martha Lane, and I am Business Development Director.
And Steve Vandenberg, and I work with Martha on our loan portfolio.
Chris Brown, Housing Development Coordinator.
Captain Bookkeeper. Lisa Kakushnik, Administrative Supervisor.
Thank you all. We have a full slate of loan applications and other business to transact. But before we do that, let's take a few minutes to remember our colleague and Vice Chair Rick Rector, who died unexpectedly last week. Does anyone on the board or the staff have any perspectives or observations they'd like to share about their interactions with Rick?
Just like to say when Rick took over as mayor, he used to the mayor, still there for about 8 years, and he used to call me up and ask some directions and things, but he, as a rule, Rick would always listen and do things. I mean, he did the reval in the city of Hudson. That was a big step.
En el restaurante. I'm sorry.
And Rick, I told him what I thought, and I said, he says, probably gonna cost me the election. I said, yeah, probably will, but he did it. I mean, he just did what was right. You know, he was, plus he bought our family business. The building where he has on Warren Street was Piro's Groceries for 65 years. So I helped him out with that. Seemed like a nice guy.
Anyone else?
Well, I've worked with Rick on a few different community projects, like fundraising, not even things that probably none of you guys have ever even heard of, but Rick just helped people.
When Rick was mayor, I was corporation counsel, and my mother-in-law tragically died. And here he is, active mayor, busy schedule, that he was there for the calling hours, for the funeral in Albany, by himself, you know, just present, you know. And to me, I've been thinking about that, just his humanity, you know. And I'm sure everybody has a story, but like that's my fun remembrance of him, that he was there.
He was a great resource to me. When I came, I was told that the city of Hudson had its own economic development organization, and we didn't need to be involved. And that was our side of the coin telling me that. And Rick and I, when he was mayor, we met every 6 or 8 weeks at Tansy's for breakfast, so no one would see us collaborating. And I remember one occasion I was there, and my daughter called to tell me that 2 hours ago she had our second grandson, and he basically stopped the breakfast, made the owner of Tansy's get me tinfoil and says, "You have to leave right now." You can see him. You're gonna go. And I said, "What? I can't." No, you're gonna go. And again, it goes to his humanity, but the balance that he had in absorbing what even harsh critics have used to attack what he was doing, really absorbed. He was able to absorb it and not take it personally, and that's really difficult in public life. And he would just shake his head and said, "Oh, my river kids." So we're gonna miss him as a friend, as a colleague, and as a board member, both here and at the Columbia County Industrial Development Agency. And to have the former mayor of Hudson on the county Economic Development Organization and IDA certainly brought a perspective that we hadn't had previously.
Well said. Anyone else? He's a special guy and we'll miss him. On with the meeting. Next topic is a board briefing on alphabet soup. In this fast-paced field of economic development, people involved in it on a full-time basis, like our staff, naturally use abbreviations for the government agencies and the private entities that they work with. This project is applying for a CSA grant and a pilot agreement from the IDA, but the ESD says they need, it'll depend on the AMI, and we have no idea what all that means. So I asked Mike and the staff to put together a little briefing for us about the key abbreviations that we'll be hearing from time to time, so that when they're referenced, we'll have a better idea of what they're talking about. Mike?
Well, thank you. It's a litany, I guess, to be exact, but I know that the FDIC puts one out for banking, and other groups put these out as well. I think we probably collectively did overkill, but obviously the ones that we deal with the most are the Authority Budget Office. And as we go down, we do look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Board of Supervisors, the BOS. We also will look at the various business associations throughout the county, whether it be, as an example, the Chatham Area Business and Arts Council. We look at the CEG, the Center for Economic Growth, PFP, Patterns of Progress. We also work with the CCC, the Columbia County Chamber of Commerce. As you go down, we also spend a lot of money at CDBG funding, which is Community Development Block Grants. Our own CEDC. Sometimes I wonder, when we say CEDC, does anyone in the county beyond 200 people know what we're talking about? But that's some of the things I think that the marketing group is going to discuss. Another big one is the CFAs, and the CF is the Consolidated Funding Application Process, under which, pursuant to which the state reviews and approves all state grant funding. There's going to be a Regional Economic Development Council meeting in Albany on Thursday, and followed by a CFA workshop. Riley did put something out through our mass media channels for that on Friday. We obviously then drop down to the CRC, which is the Capital Resource Corporation. In addition to the Columbia IDA and the City of Hudson IDA, the county has a Capital Resource Corporation, which is basically an IDA for not-for-profits. The ruling that regular good old IDAs could no longer do work for not-for-profits, so the state legislature approved an opportunity for that. We're also members of the Capital Region Chamber. Then you have some of the state, federal and state Department of Economic Development, DOS, state. DRI and NYF, New York Forward, and the Downtown Revitalization Initiatives are the programs where Hudson received $10 million 6 or 7 years ago for a list of projects that the community put forth and the state endorsed. The Village of Kinderhook just recently, a year ago, was awarded $2.1 million for projects, and I think you may have seen a week or so ago that the list of the projects that were approved were released along with the other communities in the capital region and throughout the state that received those awards. I know the Village of Copay, or the Town of Copay, is applying this year for their hamlet for New York Forward funds. New York Forward is a lookalike of the DRI, except it's the Downtown Revitalization Initiative provides $10 million, and we had brought to the state's attention that it'd be hard for the village or a hamlet to spend $10 million, and that the nature of the projects would be at the bottom line of the dollars would not get their attention because they would be wasteful spending. So we worked with the Capital District Regional Office of ESD, Empire State Development, and they came up with this new program. So smaller communities could participate as well. You have all the environmental agencies. ESD is Empire State Development. The FDIC comes up because the auditors every year tell us there's a each of our bank accounts is only insured up to $250,000. But we have 14 bank accounts now, and there are only so many banks. We do get freedom of information requests, a FOIL request from time to time. Our philosophy here on FOIL requests are public's entitled to the information. I try to work with Lisa to identify exactly what they want and give it to them so they don't have a lawyer say any and all, because you then spend a year and a half at the copier and then trying to search your electronic database to identify what might be there. HBCI is the Hudson Business Coalition. HIDA is the Hudson IDA. As we continue to go down, Todd Erling, who heads up the Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation, which is 7 counties, headquartered here in Hudson, and he's a great partner, CEDC. Our Hudson Valley Resource Group is our payroll company downstairs. As we continue going down, an LDC is a local development corporation, which is a provision of New York State law that CEDC is incorporated under. We are working, Chris Brown in housing uses LMI a lot. It's a low to moderate income. And often we're looking at whether in broadband we could get a state CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, which to serve LMI, low and moderate income people, for the purpose of getting them a grant rather than a loan, so that they could connect to broadband from the street if their house is further from the road than the state would pay for. Our minority business enterprise, it's really MWBE, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, the MEP, that is run by the Center for Economic Growth in Albany, and it provides discounted consulting services like our technical assistance for small businesses for manufacturers. I like to say that it's an organization that will never run out of funds. It was started by Senator Ernest Hollings from, I think, South Carolina 50 years ago. There's 380 of them in the country, which means that there's at least one in more than a majority of the congressional districts, and they're going to get funded forever. It's a good program. I know Sunoco and Chatham uses it a lot, and other manufacturers in the county. As we Martha's program at the microloan portfolio reporting system is where she puts in all the data. Steve on our loan program. I use the North American Industry Classification System a lot. That is, as you know, when you're in business, you have to that's your code as to what type of business you're actually in. When we were able to download all the data of companies that receive PPP 1, PPP 2, and employee retention credits. PPP 1, of course, was the payroll protection plan. ERC was the employee retention credit. Those were the SBA programs that we participated in. We were able to get data on any company in the county or organization that received those funds. And then we were able to sort them either by zip code, by town, or by their NAICS code to see what kind of a business they were. I think as we get down the New York Power Authority, many of our not-for-profits in the county get NISCA funding from the Council of Arts. As we continue down, NYSTAR is the New York State Foundation for Science, Technology, and Information. A lot of grant programs that run through there. We have oversight from the State Controller's Office, so we'll say the OSC, where the Paris reports are filed, and the Office of Community Renewal. That's where Jessica works now, and that's where we have received numerous grants, both prior to her coming with us and since. OSHA, no one wants to ever hear that OSHA's coming, especially if you're in a trade or business. we're subjected to the Public Authority Accountability Act, and that's the act that Saratoga County and Orange County have objected to being subjected to, and they keep losing their cases. They did win a case that came to a Supreme Court judge here in Columbia County, but it was recently overruled. And that's whether a not-for-profit organization like our organization, formed by business leaders in the community, and partly funded by an appropriation from government, but also funded by membership dues and loan interest, whether they are a public authority. And we've just taken the position over the years that we are, and we filed the information. We're clearly one under the open meeting law, but that when Lisa and Kat often talk about Paris reporting, we're not talking about their last trip to France, but it's the Public Authority Reporting Information System. Martha has often worked with Sally Baker at the Philmont Beautification Inc., and we have given them loans for purposes of fronting expenses related to reimbursable grants. So if a grant is awarded to someone that don't get the money until you finish the work, and the not-for-profit doesn't have the ability to come up with the money to do the work, we have often done that.
Mike, Saratoga and Orange County, why are they fighting the what is it, Public Authorities Accountability? Is it just to relieve themselves of the paperwork? Is that the?
No, I think the main reason is they feel that they will not get businesses to come to them for assistance in advance of an announcement. You know, would a Global Foundries come and if they had to report that they are meeting with Global Foundries, or that if a reporter got wind of it and came and said, I want to know anything related to Global Foundries before they announced they were coming. It's more to protect the confidentiality of the client is their main argument.
Okay.
But on the other side, you all have to fill out once a year some type of generalized financial report. There's some argument that you should be filing a report as a public officer. We reviewed that, and we don't believe that's the case, but it's the encroachment of government on private sector. But I think that the reality was, we were getting 70% of our funding from the county when I first got here. It's now down around 50. The county did not have an economic development office, so they contracted with us to provide those services. So it was hard to argue that we weren't. And if you look at what Orange and Saratoga County economic development organizations have spent trying to defend this, it's got to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and be hard pressed to.
And their level of governmental support is much less than here. So they had an argument, about 10% maybe.
And if you look at their budget, and Greg Connors, who had been the government affairs director at Global Foundries and the town supervisor in Stillwater, is now the head of CEDC, Saratoga Economic Development, and Maureen Hanrahan is the president of the Orange County Partnership, which is their name. They operate much like a chamber. They give out awards. They have a dinner for give out awards. They do things that I think would compromise our relationship here with the chamber, because there's not enough. With only 25 businesses with more than 50 employees, there's not the corporate base to support organizations at the level that you would need if you weren't taking government money. But you take Saratoga County, Global Foundries gives them $50 grand a year, and you have 20 of those types of companies up there. The same in Orange County.
Well, Mike, this is very helpful, and I'd encourage any of you with questions about any of the specific abbreviations to follow up with Mike.
And I guess the benefit of it is the story behind each of them, not what it means. And hopefully, I gave you a little bit of a taste of some of those. Why we work with people whose name is so long, you have to abbreviate it.
Well, thank you for showing us the ABCs of the CEDC.
And we have C-GCC, right?
That's right, don't forget the dash.
Don't forget the dash. It's like Dr. Jackson, when she was president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. She tried to figure out how to get people to stop saying RPI. And she spent hundreds of thousands of dollars marketing in Rensselaer, and her staff would all get up for calling RPI.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'll move on the committee reports. Rachel Levine, anything to report from governance and nominating?
We met and we talked about looking for a manufacturing kind of sector for open board position. And we also looking to kind of formalize a board orientation process, like an onboarding, and we'll be working on that.
Okay, thank you. Loan committee?
Yes, here.
Oh, there you go. Ken? You're on.
I got lost.
No, I did.
All right. So the first thing, we got the loan committee charter. We've approved that at the loan level, or the committee level, so we're looking to have the full board approve it. Be entertaining a motion for that approval.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And I'll turn over the portfolio to Martha.
Thank you, Ken. We have two clients that are in arrears on their loans. The first one owes for March, April, and now May. The second one owes for just April and May, and we're working with both clients.
Approval for that.
So moved. Second.
Motion approved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We'll move along to the first loan. I don't know, you guys are switching back and forth, so I don't know which one you're gonna
We
go
flipped the
to.
coin this morning.
Okay,
Page 11 in the packet, folks. This is Cascades Cafe LLC, a restaurant food truck based here in Hudson. The request of us was $45,000 that we have now split between two loan funds. Term of both loans will be 72 months. Total monthly payment be $783.52. Interest rate on these loans, 7.75%. Purpose of the loan being equipment and inventory purchases with some working capital. Our collateral being the lien on business assets and personal guarantee of the principal. That is Cascades Cafe LLC here in Hudson.
questions? Need a motion?
I just want to make sure that it's on the record that Martha has no further interest in this entity. They're just acquired the name, is that correct, Martha?
Correct.
Just want to be sure that it's clear and transparent that there's no connection to Cascades as we do it.
Need a motion? So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to the second one. Ally Goodman?
Ally Goodman Design, an interior design business located in Galatia. Their request of us was a $25,000 SBA microloan. This borrower does qualify for the $2,500 Columbia Forward Grant, along with its interest rate of 3.75%. Monthly payment of $388.29. Purpose of the loan being working capital and our collateral, a lien on business assets and the personal guarantee of principal. That's Ally Goodman Design in Galatia. Thank you.
Quick question, I noticed in the description, they mentioned an article in Architectural Journal or Digest.
Yeah, the
Is
business.
there any details
The
behind that?
business received some positive press, if you will, a very favorable article, and not weeks after, their business just skyrocketed. So she is now working toward all of those clients that come to her from that article. I'm a very accomplished designer based out of Galatia.
I have a quick question. Just explain to me, so my knowledge, what's the reason for the 3.75 rate?
So this is an established business with less than 25 employees. Their loan request is less than $25,000. And as a result, they qualify for the Columbia Forward program. So that is grant funds from the Board of Supervisors that we administer here. It includes a 3.75% interest rate on the loan itself. And it also includes a 10% grant, or 10% of loan amount as a grant. So in this case, a $25,000 loan request provides a $2,500 grant and also the 3.75 interest rate. In comparison to Cascades, not an established business, as a result, not.
And that percentage rate, that was established by us?
Established by us with the Columbia.
It was established by the Board of Supervisors as part of that program. And again, it's a COVID-related.
And that was established then, and does that ever change?
Well, when we run out of money, because we were only given $50,000.
So it runs the flow of the money?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Just curious, I didn't know about it.
But we got more than 50. Yes.
It was a $50,000.
So $50,000 was for grants, so I think we're probably down to.
By the time with this one being awarded, we'll be at just over $40,000 expended.
So we have $10,000 left. So we'll be able, once, we'll do another $100,000 of these loans and then it's over. Unless the supervisors ask us to renew it, but I don't think they will.
Anything further, questions? Take the motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving right along to Hudson Strength.
Hudson Strength Lab LLC, this is a startup, so they do not qualify for the Columbia Forward program. They're located just up the street, Green Street in Hudson. It's a health and fitness facility. Their request is for a $25,000 microloan. The monthly payment would be $435.29, interest rate of 7 3/4. The purpose is equipment purchases and working capital, and we will have a lien on business assets and the personal guarantee of both principals. They both participated in the micro business seminar series that we conducted during the month of April, and they were also awarded a $25,000 CDBG grant.
Are there any questions?
Entertain the motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving right along to Meepo.
Mead of Hudson LLC, this may sound familiar to those of you who were on the board last year. You approved a $75,000 loan to the business. They ended up changing their plans, moving into a different location. They've come back to us for a $50,000 loan. They're now open on Warren Street. The $50,000 would be split between the two loan funds, and their monthly payment would be $870.57. Once again, it's a startup. 7.75% is the rate. The purpose is equipment and working capital, and we will have a lien on business assets and the personal guarantee of the principal.
Questions? Questions?
What's the personal guarantee? What are they writing?
They are guaranteeing that if the business closes or is unable to make the loan payments, that they will individually make those payments until the loan is paid in full.
Okay, and this is a going operation down in Brooklyn, is that the?
They now have 2 locations in Brooklyn, plus a restaurant. Up here, they have a small location on Warren Street.
And this will be their second one.
No, we never did close on that. Yeah, we granted them 2 extensions and they ended up, we let it expire. And so they came back to us and they gave us all new projections, all updated financials.
Thank you.
They're like 3 blocks from where I lived in Brooklyn. They're amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where they start. So it's the butcher you always want.
Well, I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And that concludes the loan committee.
Very much. For the benefit of our newer board members, only loan applications of $25,000 or more are required to come to the board for approval. Martha, during the past month, were there any smaller, I'm not looking forward to find out who, but were there some smaller loans that were
There were three that were under 25,000, and those were approved by the loan committee. And there were two quick turn loans. Those were businesses that participated in that micro business seminar series that ended up not applying for a grant, or in one case, they applied for a grant, but also a loan. Again, those were $15,000 or less, and those were approved internally.
It was a busy month.
Yes.
Thank you, good work. Mike Tucker, President's report.
Well, thank you. As you know, Martha's been very busy, as has Steve, with our loan program. But Martha, could you and Steve give a brief update on the micro enterprise grant program?
Sure. We ended up with 14 applicants, I believe, for the grant. One applicant did not complete the requirements to qualify for the grant. The 13 that did complete the requirements, which included providing the same amount of paperwork that they would for a loan. They also had to participate in that micro business seminar series. All 13 of them were awarded a grant in the full amount that they requested. And if you want to explain how we did that.
And the program was we received a $300,000 grant from the Office of Community Renewal for this program. We did consult with several other communities, including Greene County and the town of Bethlehem, who have managed this grant program previously. And we hope to get additional tranches of funding as we work through the current program. It's for businesses that are startup or existing. They have to have 5 employees or less, including the owner. And if the owner is not a low to LMI, low to moderate income person, they have to hire someone who's low to moderate income. And they can only use the money for equipment, the way we structured it, so that if they were going to use it for capital improvements to their building or facility, we would have to do an environmental report on each of the grants. It's reimbursable, so they have to go out and spend the money and come back to us. When we end up dispersing 80% of the total that we have granted, we can apply for more. As Martha pointed out, we could have kept $30,000 of the 300 as a fee, but because of the fact we were oversubscribed, and because of the fact that we knew we could get additional funding after this tranche, we decided to use only take $5,000 as a fee, so that we could give more money to the people on the street, so that we didn't have 2 people coming and saying, why wasn't it me? Because it was very difficult to differentiate between the qualifications of the grant. And we would have to basically flip the coin as to which 2 we wouldn't have funded. And our feeling was that what we will do now is not let more than into the, you gotta take the training program. So we'll cut off the number of people at the training program admission, so we aren't oversubscribed. We didn't think we'd get anyone. So we marketed it a little bit further. Obviously, we didn't want to take we didn't want to be out of pocket. We certainly wouldn't have been out of pocket without coming to the board, but we felt that to get this program up and running smoothly, we would waive some of the fee. The state said you can do that, others do it. And I'm excited about the program, and it does take a lot of time to get them qualified, and run the course. And it's also gonna take time to, and with Kat and to work with Martha and Steve on doing paperwork. And Riley's been helpful with paperwork and these office renewal grants in the past. But we had a letter from, was it Kate Tracy? An email, and can you paraphrase that, Martha?
I don't remember her exact words, but she's just so grateful. And as you can imagine, $25,000 is a significant amount of money for a small business. One of the difficulties is that they have to spend that money in advance, and we're finding out that they don't have that much room on their credit card, they don't have a line of credit, we're working with them to help them, spend some, then hopefully get reimbursed and then spend the balance. So it's been a bit of a challenge for everyone, but, Kate in particular is very grateful and thankful and, wanted the whole organization to be aware of that.
We also want to compliment Martha and Steve. Our regional, the national office that we end up working with in DC for the SBA loan program asked Martha and Steve if they would talk to a group in South Carolina that just recently started a loan program. And, never saying no. Martha got on the phone with them, and I guess with Steve with you.
Yeah.
And the two of them had the call. Word got back to Keith Johnson at the SBA, who had asked Martha to do it, and said, "Thank you for being a great partner and an asset to me in the microloan program. You are the best. Have a great weekend." Now, that's worth 3 get out of jail free cards when we don't submit the application right, or we ask for their help, or we end up and Kate Tracy said, "I wanted to reach out to the two of you to personally thank you for all that CEDC has done to support the Hudson Ferry Company. It is not an exaggeration to say that without you, it wouldn't exist. I don't think that Sam and I would have persevered without the early counsel, resources, and encouragement you provide. I know this micro enterprise grant is a lot of work for you, but we all appreciate your help in getting it going. All the support it provides to new and existing businesses will help our community continue to flourish for all who live here and all who visit." And she sent that to Martha. So, that's why we do this stuff. We're gonna talk about this at the marketing meeting as to how to use testimonials in material going forward, but at this point, we're gonna go over $100,000 in loan interest this year, and not just because of interest rates being up. Broadband, quickly, we are working with the USDA and the towns of New Lebanon and Canaan for the 150 plus or minus addresses there. We are working with the Connect All office at the state on the remaining 700 or 800 addresses, and validating lists and going back and forth with them. Unfortunately, they're in what they're calling a rebuttal stage, where everyone made challenges to the list. Now the list has been published, and anyone, including the public, can rebut what the list looks like. That's another 30 days before that gets submitted to Washington. Washington will review it. If they agree with the list, they'll send it back. Once it comes back, the Connect All office will go out for RFPs to providers to get pricing for the addresses on the list. Once that happens, obviously there's got to be a 30 or 60-day period for that people to respond. Then they send that information to Washington, not just for Columbia County, but for all the 62 counties. Washington will see if they think those prices are reasonable based on what criteria, I don't know. They will then come back, and then the state will contract with the providers, and then it'll be fall and winter, and the work doesn't get started, and the money won't flow until third or fourth quarter of next year. So if you don't have broadband right now, and you're not in Canaan or New Lebanon, we're gonna have some unhappy people at the local level, which is why we're trying to see, okay, if you don't have broadband, is it only because you don't have the money to run it 300 feet up the road? Can we get you a grant? We're also trying to see, based on whether, if it's a low to moderate income census tract, we're looking to see if we could get community block grant money for that without annoying the Connect All office that we're bypassing them. But we are looking at every angle. Chris Brown has been working very diligently on housing. We did get approval from the Economic Development Committee of the Board of Supervisors last week, and it will go to the full board next Wednesday to apply for a $50,000 planning grant that would, and we went ahead and got the Board of Supervisors to agree to apply because the way their meeting schedule was, if we didn't do it in the May, June cycle, the application would be due prior to when they would have approved it and held a public hearing. So we haven't obligated CEDC to anything with respect to that grant. But if the grant is awarded, the county would seek to contract with CEDC to manage it, and at that time, we would bring it to the board for approval. Thursday is the first meeting of the Columbia County Land Bank, which Chris has been instrumental in establishing. And also, as I mentioned, it's the same day as the Regional Council meeting and the CFA workshop. We're working on how we cover all of those at the same time, but we will. And I know a number of people who received the email on the Regional Council meetings have indicated back to me over the weekend that they're planning to attend, and we're very grateful to know about it. Chris has also been working on a number of other grants and evaluating the programs that have been announced and are anticipated to be announced in the next month or so from the Office of Community Renewal and the Division of Housing with respect to programs in the governor's budget. Columbia County continues to be among the highest percentage of towns within a county that have applied for pro-housing community status. And again, that's because of the proactive work that Chris has been doing in that arena. We are continuing to work with, as I reported last month, on the Columbia County Climate Carnival on September 14th at the county fairgrounds. Jim and I worked through some of the requests that we've received, and what we've done is we've partnered with the county so that the marketing material that goes out from county and partnered with the chamber, and it will go out under CEDC and chamber marketing. And we're not asking for money, but we're saying that if you're interested in sponsoring, you can go here. But we were concerned about getting in the role of becoming a marketing fundraiser for other organizations, but this is a Columbia County government event. I think that, is there anything, Martha, Steve, Chris, Kat, Lisa, Riley, do you have it? We were very fortunate to participate in the county's internship program, and we are fortunate. I'm going to ask Ms. Matheson to please stand and give us your first name so I can make sure I haven't met you, but I'm like Tucker. Thank you.
Good morning, nice to meet everyone. My name is Ashmi. Nice to meet you.
And tell us what college you're going to. It's exciting. I want to learn more about it.
I go to Vaughn College in Queens in the city. It's for aeronautics, and I'm studying to be a pilot and an air traffic controller.
Excellent. You'll fit in here. But we're very grateful to have you join us, and this is your first half hour, so it's good that you get to see that everyone here has someone to report to. And this is the group. It's a great program. The county funds it, and we do have to provide the timesheets and the reporting, but it doesn't cost CEDC anything, and we're very lucky to have you here with us. Any questions? One last thing. You may have read the paper press release. It kind of sometimes they get messed up, and this one was one of them. But the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, awarded Greene County $1.5 million for brownfield assessments. They applied for this last year, and they didn't get it because they said they didn't have a strong enough partner, because they didn't have any partner. So they came to us and asked us if we would apply. I think we brought this to the attention of the board at the time. It was over a year, almost 9 months ago that the application went in. The grant calls for a coalition to be formed between Columbia and Greene County, focusing on inventorying, I didn't know that was a word, characterizing and assessing potentially contaminated sites within a specific target area. And it's being led by Greene County Economic Development and includes Columbia Economic Development as their partner. We will deploy the efforts in a general catchment area in the 2 counties. It said that it was going to be specifically targeted to Catskill, Tannersville, and Hudson, but we're also looking at a site in Claverack and in Stockport. And again, it's to assess whether there are sites that are on the state's brownfield list that have not been addressed up to the status that the EPA would require. And then if they are identified and determined to be eligible under this program, they would be eligible for money to do the work. I imagine we'll end up getting, at least $500,000 to look at sites in the county. And obviously most of that work will be contracted out, but we obviously would come to you for approval to retain professionals. We may set it up where all of the contracts are run through, where Greene County signs for them because of the fact that they're the applicant. So I didn't think it was worth trying to clear up the nuance with the register started. We were invited to a event that the Columbia County Board of Realtors had with Congressman Molinaro on housing. We're very grateful. There are about a handful of housing partners that the Board of Realtors had the Congressman invite: Habitat, ourselves, the Hudson Housing Authority, and Chris did a great job at that event. And it was also his birthday. Chris, what is the congressional birthday song?
It's very short, but I do not remember it.
It was "Happy Birthday to You." This is all it is, and have a great day. But
Yeah, I don't know
apparently,
if it's a Congressman's specific birthday song or if it's Congress's song.
Yeah, but
I appreciate the brother.
and we got some great press. This was on the article on the front page of the paper, and churning along, and we're looking forward to refocusing as we go into summer.
Thank you. On to the treasurer's report.
Very briefly, on the balance sheet, our cash is down 125,000, but our other current assets are up 816,000, primarily due to the loan program, as you can see. 232 is the Kleinkill loan. It's just a pass through, and additional 226 in CEDC loans, and 349 in SBA loans receivable. So, our balance sheet for the first time has gone over, as you'll see when we get to the bottom. It's gone over 5 million for the first time, and primarily due to the increase in the loan fund. We did have a $41,000 drop from last year, primarily in current and fixed assets, primarily due to depreciation, and we had a $24,000 drop in other assets due to the fact that we added $17,000 to our allowance for bad debt. And last year at this time, we had a $7,000 grant receivable that had been paid. So on the liability side, the liabilities obviously are also up to match the balance sheet or the assets. We're up $538,000. 393 of the 538 is due to the additional borrowings from the SBA. 252,000 is due to increased deferred revenue. And as you know, we have been taking into deferred revenue funds that we're receiving from the county where we're not spending, so that we are not getting ahead of ourselves and commingling the funds, because the grants had specific purposes. So that includes, Jessica's salary because she puts her future forward. Includes funding that we received with respect to the housing contract. And so, and so the funds are there, and as they are needed, they will be added to income, so we can expense them without creating a negative net income. Any questions on the balance sheet? On the income side, our grant income is up 20%. We did receive $10,000 grant for Chris, who is the housing group that gave us that?
Oh, that's Trillium, that's the community land.
But where did they get the grant?
HCR.
HCR, the state gave us, we applied for a grant for 10,000, or is it 20?
That one was 20 for planning.
20 for planning, and we're managing that for Trillium, which is the countywide land trust that was set up by the city of Hudson. And our membership and sponsorship is above budget, but that'll even out over time because those funds, both for the annual meeting and for membership, usually come in, first of the year, or at least the first and second quarter. So our total income is up, and our SBA microloan is up 20%, or 20,000. We are down on administrative revenue because we anticipated at least one IDA project in the city of Hudson closing. There's going to be 4 projects presented at the meeting next month. We'll catch up on that over time. As you know, we get $10,000 for each project that we close on. On the expense side, our grant expenses up $10,000 because we didn't budget for the fact that we were moving money over for the grant program that we run for the county. So $10,000 of the increased income under grant funding is from deferred revenue that we moved over so we could make the grants that Michael asked about during the loan program presentation. And the other $5,000 that we spent was the grant that you awarded to the IDA for operating. The only other 2 categories that are above budget were $500 over office expense, $66 over other expense, and $2,700 over on professional fees. And that was the additional oversight work that RBT did as accountants that we hadn't budgeted for after URBAC or UHY told us because of the single audit, they could no longer, they'd remain totally independent. We needed outside assistance. So we're $27,000 net income at this point in time. We were projected to be down 65. But if you look at that, our employee expense is down 35,000. So most of the net difference is the result of not yet finding someone to replace Jessica or to hire a project manager instead of replacing her. Riley and I worked on this the last 2 weeks. We're now reposted, refreshed at what's called Gannon's List, which is a very good local job board for jobs like this. We're at the New York State Economic Development Council, the New York State Planning Council, and there's
Handshake.
And Handshake. Tell us about Handshake. Yeah.
So Handshake goes on different colleges for like their career centers. So any students that are graduating are with their masters looking for a job, they'll show up there.
And it's also for undergrads. And what we were hoping to do is we found it because we were trying to identify someone from UAlbany planning office, but we also should be, and Chris, you updated it again on your job board. What had happened was it had been out there and it got stale. So people would look at it and it said it was posted in January. So we asked everyone who had posted it to take that down and make it a June application. And we should double check Riley with Dr. Jones to make sure we get it posted on with their career department. What we did is, remember, because there's a new law that you have to put the salary in. But if someone good came and was material to get to that salary, you couldn't hire them at less than that, which would not be fair to other employees with experience and tenure. So we have a project manager from 50 to 65,000, and we have a vice president from at the higher level. So if we have to all collectively work and train someone, we'll do it, but we are at a point where we really need someone.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion's passed. Revised meeting schedule.
I think that was just because we broke into, when we approved the bylaws, we now have a new committee. We have an audit committee and a finance committee instead of a combined finance committee. So Lisa put out a new schedule, but if you're not on either the finance committee or audit committee, it doesn't impact you. And I think the audit committee was planned to meet once a year or twice a year. They both meet twice. So why don't we, Lisa, if you could send out calendar notices to those members of those two committees, so that the rest of you certainly are welcome, but it's
And so we need to approve this revised meeting schedule. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. The minutes are in your packet. If there are any questions or additions, we can entertain them now. Otherwise, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Opportunities for the public, if anyone watching who would like to ask a question or make a comment, this is your opportunity. I want members of the board. Any questions, comments? Carly?
Two things. First, just want to extend hearty congratulations to Cappy on his Distinguished Citizen of the Year award. And secondly, I'm not competitive at all, but there was a buzz at the campus about why the CFA event is being held in Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
It's the epicenter of an 8-county region. And we have had them here where we did a Columbia Green one after they did the regional one. So
how can we become the epicenter?
Well, we'd have to, when I was at CEDC, we had 11 counties. The epicenter was, for those of you who have been around a long time, was the Starlight Theater site, which is now CDPHP. I had an intern, which is really where Route 7 and Route 87 come together. But what we'll do is we'll have a subsequent one where we bring them down but before the middle of June, and it'll be a month before the applications are due, 6 weeks before.
Yeah, just had a couple of trustees wanted to know why. I said, oh.
You have trustees too.
Wanted to let everybody know that our council, Andy Howard, can now be addressed as Grandpa.
So they decide what
they call
it. Bob.
And I want to thank Lisa and Riley and Mike for numbering the pages in the agenda.
I had nothing to do with it except told them that if we didn't, you were going to come and do it. So thank you, Lisa and Riley and Jim.
Looking ahead to June, the executive committee meets on Tuesday the 11th, the loan committee on Monday the 18th, and our board meeting will be on the 25th. Also note on Friday, June 7th at 11 a.m., there's a celebration of the life of Rick Rector taking place at Hudson Hall. And on that note, I would recommend that we adjourn in memory of our beloved colleague, Rick Rector, with gratitude for his service to CEDC, for his unique contributions to Hudson and Columbia County, and for his valued friendship. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
What was the time and date?